Hey everybody, this is Matthew from Outpost Unknown. Just wanted to drop a quick video discussing my experience at the 2025 Dismember the Alamo event at our local Nebraska Alamo Draft House. It's listed as Omaha on the website, but it's technically in La Vista. I went up there with my friend Jeremy, co-host with me on Exhuming the X-Files, and this was the first time he'd ever actually been to a Dismember the Alamo kind of mystery movie event. I think this is the third time I had been, but the first since COVID hit. So I thought it was pretty exciting to sort of get up there and kind of see. If you're unfamiliar with what these are, I think it's like once a month. Alamo Draft House in October will just do a marathon of movies, and it could be anywhere from 4 to 6 depending on the city. Interesting enough, when we got to the Alamo Draft House, one of the bartenders stated the guy who programmed it, he was literally the only employee in our Alamo Draft House that had any idea what movies were actually scheduled for that night. So super cool. Bought this awesome margarita pizza. You can see a picture of it right here. It was delicious, fantastic. So got myself a margarita pizza before we headed in there. Got into the theater, and what's great about the Alamo Draft House is you're filled with fellow movie aficionados, people who will be respectful and not assholes during the actual screening. And the bartender had also told us that over 174 tickets, I think he said, had actually been sold. So for this actual event, so it was either sold out or very, very close to being sold out. I didn't notice any empty seats sitting in there, but the MC sort of came out before it started, and of course he was, in a Freddy Krueger glove, and he was dressed, in a Freddy sweater. Maybe initially think, I was like, did this guy program some Elm Street film, the way he's dressed? But he did not. There is no Elm Street in this movie marathon. But he came out and he said, hey, we're going to have a night full of gore and splatter and, excitement, so buckle up. And the very first film that was screened was Herschel Gordon Lewis's The Gore Girls from 1972. For those of you who are not familiar with Herschel Gordon Lewis's shtick, he is considered the godfather of gore. I think it was 1962, if I'm correct. He made the very first splatter film, which was Blood Feast. Fuad Ramsey's going around chopping up women and just in visceral bright red blood and gore. He's a horrible filmmaker in terms of actually being able to set up shots and keep things in focus and edit and all of that stuff. But this one was basically just 90 minutes or so of some naked go-go girls jiggling around and getting killed by an unseen butcher. And this particular film got quite a reaction on a number of moments in the film. One of them, of course, was there was a close-up of a woman's nipple, and the killer takes some scissors and chops off the nipple, and then milk starts squirting out, and the killer's getting it in a cup. And the thing about these movies is Herschel Gordon Lewis wanted pretty girls, and he wanted just to keep the camera on all kinds of violence that was occurring. So you get heads smashed up, and the camera's just sitting on it in close up and everything like that. Probably not the film I would have selected to sort of kick off a mystery movie marathon. However, the programmers, if his goal was to start getting a lot of gore and getting us accustomed to the amount of violence we would be seeing the rest of the night, I think he succeeded there. Film itself, you can take it or leave it. You're either a fan of Herschel Gordon Lewis's stuff or you're not. But there were some funny moments in it. The lead private eye investigator guy is kind of funny, and so is his sort of sidekick reporter girl. But interesting way to start the Dismember the Alamo event. But we got through the Gore Girls. In the meantime, Jeremy had bought a bowl of churro popcorn, which I had not had before, and that was delicious as well. So I was 2 for 2 so far on edible things at the draft house. I also got myself a chocolate milkshake, which was also fantastic. I have a few photos / videos here and there, but it was so dark in there I couldn't really get anything, and I'm certainly not going to turn my flash on my phone inside of an Alamo draft house. Second film that we saw was a film called Retribution, directed by a guy named Guy Magar. I had never heard of this film. Came out in 1987. I was unfamiliar with anything about it. And this was kind of cool. In the previous Alamo Draft House Dismember the Alamo events I've gone to, there's always one of these types of films where it's like you're going to see something you've probably never heard of before. And that's one of the things I like about it. A few years back, it was a film called Prison, starring Viggo Mortensen, a very, very young Viggo Mortensen, which is an awesome, awesome movie. And so this was one of those. The basic premise here is this dude attempts to unalive himself at the very beginning of the film. He fails. He jumps off like the roof of a building and he hits a car or something, but somehow he survives. And he gets possessed in some way by, I guess, the spirit of, I don't know if it's like a mob guy who was betrayed by a bunch of mobsters, and they like shoot him and light him on fire, and he dies, but his spirit goes in this guy. Well, now when this guy sleeps, the spirit of this dude inhabits his body and enacts vengeance on the people who killed him, which includes like telekinetic powers to like fly them around. His eyes turn bright green. He starts laughing maniacally. What I'll say about this is a kind of cool little film. I didn't quite understand a lot of it as I was watching it. I actually had to turn to Jeremy at one point and say, what the hell is going on here? Why is he attacking this girl at the end of the movie? That didn't make any sense to me. So I'd probably have to watch it again just to try to really pick up on what was going on. But it has some really creative shots in it, and just the music is really good. It's got that 80s like synth pop score that's really driving, and you could tell a lot of passion and energy was put into trying to make it look really, really cool. The main character though has got a Dumb and Dumber haircut, and he's a little goofy for me to take seriously. That all these women, these super attractive women, are like falling for this kind of dopey guy. But overall, this was a way better film than the Gore Girls in terms of just sort of entertainment value and whatnot. So then I think, was it at that one? I don't know. At some point I ordered the classic double cheeseburger, and I got a cookie shake. I was ordering tons and tons of food at this thing because when I go to these events, I'm like, look, I want to try as much stuff on the menu as I can. Oh yeah, I ordered chocolate chip cookies as well. Sugar overload, but I wanted to enjoy myself and eat all the eats that I could. But the MC came back out after Retribution was over, and he was like, okay, now we're going to get dark, folks. It's going to get real, real dark. Because he had said, hey, we got movies from the 70s, we got movies from the 80s, we've got a couple X-rated movies here, we got something from the 2020-ish time period. And so that 2020-ish time period film turned out to be Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor, but not just the normal Possessor. It was the uncut version of Possessor, and it was, according to this guy, it had never been screened in the Midwest area. I think he mentioned from Kansas City up to Omaha and whatnot. So this was actually exciting for me because I had never actually seen this one. I've seen most of all of Cronenberg's films and most of his kids' stuff, but I did not have a chance to actually see this one yet. And so I was kind of excited for this. Clearly, heads and shoulders the best, quote unquote, best made movie that we saw at the event. I mean, it's a professional movie. I mean, it looks like it was made up in Canada, obviously, but it's like a very Hollywood type look and feel and aesthetic to everything. Possessor is about this woman who can sort of go into, they don't exactly explain how this works, but she can sort of like, I don't know, like jack into possess like another person's body to try to. I guess it's like they're doing hits on different people, and they're Jennifer Jason Lee is like the boss, and she sends this woman to get into the minds of other people to, do assassinations, and essentially, in order to like get out, to be pulled out, you have to like kill yourself, shoot yourself. She's having issues trying to do that. Well, eventually she gets into, long story short, she gets into the mind of this other dude, and things start going awry. You got a finite amount of time you can be in someone's head before the mental will and the consciousness of the other person starts like fighting back against you, and then awesome movie. This was an absolute banger of a movie. A lot of really cool cinematic techniques in here. Like there's one sequence in this that I thought was just awesome, and it's like the two wills and consciousnesses of these two actors are kind of like fighting each other a little bit, and the room is like, it'll like flash red, and then you can see the consciousness of one of the actors coming closer, and then it goes back and keeps flashing closer and closer, and then he like pulls the face off. You probably see that in the movie poster, like, what is this weird face? It's like the face of the consciousness of the person who's taken over his mind. It's classic Cronenberg type stuff. Brandon's just like his dad. A lot of technology and a lot of unique ideas and concepts of how this technology can be abused and how it alters bodies. And, you've got your typical, sexual elements in here. You've got, graphic violence. I don't know what is in the uncut version that isn't in the R-rated version. I know there was at least one sequence of like a dude with a full-on hard-on, and he's like having sex with some woman. Maybe that was cut out of the R-rated version, I'm sure. But anyway, go check out Possessor. If you haven't seen it, go watch Possessor. It used to be on Tubi. I don't know if it still is, but I'm actually glad I waited so that I could experience this at the Alamo Drafthouse. And it has a crazy ending. Absolutely crazy ending that I thought was really, really good. And the Cronenberg family is not afraid to go there. And that there definitely was a reaction in the theater when a certain thing happens at the very end of the movie. So that was good. And then the fourth and final movie, I'll take a little bit of issue with, because the MC, he didn't show up. He wasn't there after Possessor was over. There was some dude up in the projection booth that was saying, "Hey, thanks for coming." But the MC had previously said, "Hey, just a little tease. We have potentially, arguably, the greatest giallo film of all time that's going to screen tonight." And I was just trying to think of giallo films that would be considered the greatest of all time. And even though it's not technically, I wouldn't consider it a giallo, I have seen many, many, many people consider Suspiria to be the greatest giallo film of all time, even though I would not consider it one. By Dario Argento, of course. And that was my prediction. I figured, like, oh, it's probably going to be Suspiria or something like that. Turns out it was not. It was Dario Argento produced, but it turned out to be Lamberto Bava's Demons, which is not a giallo film. I don't know why it was described as such, but it is not a giallo film, and if anything, it's just a straight-up monster movie. So the Alamo Drafthouse scheduler, programmer, MC guy loses some credibility with me there. So one of those sort of quintessential horror films that take place in a movie theater. Essentially a group of horny teens and a bunch of randos and an audience are watching a film about a number of characters who are kind of like reading from this weird Latin book, very Evil Dead-esque, right? Deadite type stuff. And in the movie, these sort of demons start possessing people, and the same thing happens to all of the people in the audience. I think one girl puts on the mask and cuts her face, and that's the same thing that happens in the movie. And suddenly the demons are in the real world, and then the film is just a fight for survival as these demons, one by one, people start turning into demons, because every time you're attacked by one, you turn into one. And we just follow a group of survivors as they attempt to survive and then escape this theater. I know like Jeremy was kind of iffy on this one. I don't think that Demons is a great film by any means, but this is something that Alamo Drafthouse has done. I think at all of the Dismember the Alamo events that I've gone to, the movie mystery marathons, is they always have some sort of film that takes place in a theater, some sort of horror film. I think the last one I went to, it was supposed to be 4 films, but they actually did a 5th, and that 5th mystery movie was Popcorn, which is one of my favorite films from the 90s, and that takes place in a theater as well. So, was it the best movie to sort of end on? I don't know. I'd probably say no to that. The thing about programming these types of movie or these types of events is you have to like really get people on board at the beginning and then save something that's really really great for the end. Possessor, I probably would, if I had to like reshuffle this particular order, I probably would have went Demons first, then Retribution, then Gore Girls, then Possessor. I think I would have ended with Possessor. It all comes down to the programming and who picks the films and who decides to slot them in the right spots. I think I would have preferred it to end with Possessor rather than Demons, but hey, a lot of people like Demons. I'm not hating on the film. It's just, I would have preferred something else. But overall, another really cool Dismember the Alamo event. These things are always fun. Ate a ton of great food. It was a packed house. Jeremy seemed to really, really dig it. I did ask for his comments since he had never been to one before. And he says, quote, "Even though word on the street is that the movie-going experience is dying, it will never be old to me rubbing shoulders with a theater full of respectful, quiet when appropriate, horror-loving fans. Every city in the U.S. deserves an Alamo." Well said. I'm looking forward to potentially going to Dismember the Alamo in 2026. If we're still around at that time, we will hopefully do that. But leave a comment down below if any of you guys went to your own Dismember the Alamo events on Saturday. Tell me what films were screened at yours, because allegedly every Alamo Drafthouse has different things. No Alamo Drafthouse has the same films that they show, same 4 to 6 films. So I'd be curious what you saw if you went. Thanks. Hit that like and subscribe. And go watch Possessor, man. Go watch it. It's good stuff.